Houston Astros catcher Christian Vazquez signed with the Minnesota Twins for a 3-year deal worth $30 million. Let's see how this panned out and what the Astros will do now. Let's get to it. First of all, I don't think anyone can believe that they let this happen. Did the Astros really think this was a good decision? 3 years for $30 million. That's all it took for Christian Vazquez? He just so happens to be one of the better offensive catchers in baseball, and they let that happen? Not to mention that he was the guy that was behind the plate for a huge amount of scoreless innings in the playoffs. After being traded to the Astros on the trade deadline, this man batted .250 with 1 home run and 10 RBIs in 35 games, and he won a World Series with them. Over his 8-year MLB career, Vazquez has 276 RBIs and is a .261 hitter with 55 home runs. He's got 16 stolen bases to his name. That's a dependable player that you have to keep a hold of. You must be thinking, how do you lose a player like that? And you won't believe why he made the decision to change. Why Vazquez opted for the trade to the Minnesota Twins. I'm not even surprised, and there are 2 very clear reasons why it was easy to make the decision. At the start of the Astros postseason run, a reporter from the Boston Globe asked Christian Vazquez about his impending free agency, and Christian Vazquez was clear in his answers. He said that there were 2 things that he was looking for on his next team. Number 1 was contending, but the other one was playing time. To put simply, the Astros were just never going to do that for Vazquez because of their loyalty to Martin Maldonado. Could they have retained Vazquez if they wanted to? Yes, of course. But they weren't going to give Christian Vazquez the contract he got from Minnesota because they love Martin Maldonado, and they weren't willing to make Christian Vazquez this team's primary catcher. Heck, they weren't even willing to make Vazquez the starter for as often as he wanted to be. With that being said, it's still surprising that they didn't match $10 million a year for Vazquez. They could have raised a couple extra million just to retain him, even if they wanted him on the bench for a year, till they tested a plan out. The only reason they lost Vazquez is because the Astros really love Martin Maldonado, and they haven't been willing to make someone else a starter at all since he's been there. Now, they're going to have to find a replacement for Vazquez in a time where everybody has already signed with one or the other MLB teams. My opinion is that they've got this all thought out. So, what will the Astros do to replace Vazquez? Do they have options? Of course they do. They've still got their guy Maldonado, and this could be why they've got him under contract for 1 more year. It is known that they really like him and respect him. The second thing that I think they have planned is that they feel good about either Corey Lerner and Diaz. They probably didn't want Vazquez blocking them for the next 3 years. It does seem like they're going to bet on Maldonado for a year and hope that either Corey Lee or Yainer Diaz can show that they can be the guy by the time the team gets to 2024. Astros manager Dusty Baker is adamant on developing the young talent under their main catcher so that they can have depth to the squad. Some benefit of the doubt does need to be given because let's not forget that the team has always had homegrown guys that they've been able to just plug and play. Jeremy Pena is a great example, and he replaced Carlos Correa. If they can pull the same off with Maldonado and then Corey Lee, with Corey Lee eventually supplanting them as a starter. They have a good plan on their hands. It's risky because there aren't many great options left if you let Vasquez go, but it is possible if they think Corey Lee could be that guy, or if Diaz emerges as that guy. Dusty Baker has said that it is important to see which of the younger players can step up to take Maldonado's spot. He maintains that they're in a good spot. His view of the situation is that they have an older catcher, and then a couple of younger ones that need to be groomed to take the main spot. He says that the guys they do have show the potential of being impactful players in the future. All the fans have opinions on what the team can do, but really, what do the Astros need? In the offseason, they have showcased to us that they at least have some concern about Yainer Diaz and Corey Lee behind Maldonado. That can't cut it all on its own though. They are running out of time to supplement the team. Anthony Rizzo was their top option, and he's off the market. Contreras was their top target. They didn't get him. They've lost in on Vasquez. So what now? What they need to do is have Maldonado be the catcher again next year and make moves for a left field / DH spot. They need people who can come in and make an impact. They need to bring in a left fielder / DH with Jordan and a catcher, and upgrade at both of those spots. There are people within the organization that prefer Diaz in that spot only because of the fact that he can bat. He has played first base in addition to catcher. It being this late doesn't help their case though, and they need to start moving for people they can play instead of people who can sit while they test their younger players. The Astros need somebody who can hit in left field, whether it's Michael Conforto, Michael Brantley, or Andrew Benintendi. In this moment of what looks like a crisis, I also think it's important for us to trust Jim Crane because the team did win another World Series. It wouldn't be the move that I would have made, but if he decides to run it back with Maldonado, with Corey Lee, or Diaz as a backup, he has earned the benefit of the doubt. But the real question is, can they rely on Maldonado? What will he have to do to make this work? We can expect him to be the primary catcher next season, depending on how spring training goes. Lee or Diaz could earn a backup role. Maldonado does possess a leadership quality and tendency to give some game to some of the younger pitchers. That's what the staff will need him to do next season. His ability to guide pitchers like Framber Valdez, Luis Garcia, Brian Abreu, Christian Javier, and Urquidy can't be quantified, but is something that is extremely valuable. That is the thing that the Astros will need him to do for the next season because their options outside of homegrown talent are looking limited. With Vasquez having left the organization, the Astros are in a bit of trouble because of his pairing with Maldi, but nothing that can't be worked on. And since we're back on the topic, Vasquez did well to leave because it's a better chance for him and a push for the Astros to start building up again. Right now, their whole season depends on the reliability of one dude. That's been our examination of the Astros' best options for catcher and everything we know about Vasquez's move to the Twins. See you in the next video.